New music.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Labyrinthos.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Archeion itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
It's difficult not to see the parallels between Archeion and Amarot, this whole obsession with knowledge and creation.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people Gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then. Did you call to me just now?
No.
No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
Yeah, that was odd. Excuse me, are you a Gleaner? If you don't mind, I have some questions to ask. Fascinating, but could we go back to what you were saying earlier? You're here to help or give me more headaches, because you don't have the look of a Gleaner, and I am in no mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues was so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have a pack of marmots running loose. Your exchange with Erenville has taught you about exhausted Gleaners. Thief. Let me think. The Rhea seats should be item 1058, Coming seats 1059, Snurbbleberry 1060, or were they 1061? My head feels like it's stuffed with mokogras, with more loads to take out and carry in. Why do all this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the Coathan carrots for the Gira Banyan carrots? What then? Your exchange with thieves has taught you about large shipments coming in and out of Labyrinthos. Do you want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books, and ore, and fauna. If it needs hauling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrinthos. You know, sort and tidy up the inventory. Never see an operation like this before though. They just did one a few summers ago even. Then, with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be that they're changing the layout, eh? Preparing for the next big expansion. Your exchange with Dobbin has taught you about taking stock in Labyrinthos. Not looking forward to transporting all of this, but I'm looking forward to a nice drink afterwards. Any luck? Which tales did the Gleaners have to tell? So this grand operation began without warning, and for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. That would explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. We were right. The forum is definitely up to something, and they're turning Labyrinthos upside down in the process. Glorified Ratcatcher. We would do well to learn more of what specifically the Gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who has tasked them to do it. If you're game, Sagasite, I have an idea. Didn't one of the Gleaners who questioned said something about escaped marmots? Perhaps if you were to help him capture said creatures, he might be inclined towards a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my charms upon this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting! You wish to help me find the marmots? I have nothing suitable to pay you for your services, but if you are offering out the goodness of your heart, I would welcome the assistance. The name is Erenville, friend, specialist in the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of these Noxian marmots is a trial I have no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call them. For a mercy, there are no other mammoth species on this tier at present, so there should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any, stuff them in this sack, gently of course. Where to begin, you wonder? I have not seen any scampering around here, so we'll need to widen our search into the surrounding forest. Be on your guard. There are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on a marmot or you. I'll set the tree to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. So what do I need to do? I need to search for grizzled mice and defeat any enemies that appear. Ah, here they are. Grizzled mouse. Oh god, we're not... No more Enochian. Thank you. Chirp squeak. Barely have you ready the sack when the grizzled mouse scampers off into the underbrush. This music is so weird, but it's charming. Squeak. Rat sack, sturdy sack, supposedly large enough to hold one or more squirming marmots. The rodent nimbly evades your grasp before once more disappearing into the trees. Stupid rat. Chirp! Okay, stay quiet. Squeak squeak. More prepared for its speed this time, you succeed in closing the sack over the elusive quarry. How did you fare? I tracked down 3 of the pack, which leaves 1 unaccounted for. This sack holds the plump, wriggling form of one greatly annoyed grizzled mouse. Ah, there's the odd marmot out. Wait here a moment while I put our friends in the holding cage. Thankfully, the marmots seem to be unharmed. They have held up well in isolation, but it's much too soon to release them into the habitat. It's a good thing we were able to recapture them so swiftly. You have my thanks. Who tasked you to capture them in the first place? What would you do with the marmots now? I want to know who tasked you to capture them. Why, the authority in charge of Labyrinthos, now and in perpetuity. The same officials who have had us working day and night of late. The honorable members of the forum. Who else? Suitable for consumption and easy to breed, those were the 2 conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least I doubt they'll be served for dinner today or tomorrow. There you are. Is this the Gleaner you mentioned? The one who's looking for lost mammoths? Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk, anyway? I am Kryl of the Students of Valdesian. These others are my associates. Truth be told, the forum's decisions of late have not sat entirely well with us. That is why we made the descent into Labyrinthos. We hoped that by seeing those decisions put into action, we might more fully understand the reasoning. Wise and practical. Never hurts to try and gain a broader perspective, does it? Anyway, duty calls, other animals to capture and enclosures to empty. Once again, I'm sorry that I can offer you more for your services. Did you learn anything new from your friend there? So we have confirmed that the order for this ambitious operation did indeed come directly from the forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. I would say that fits with everything we have heard thus far. We also discovered when the operation was begun. The forum contacted the Gleaners guild ship and put their people to this great work some 4 days after the Telephoroi made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travelers, the Gleaners keep abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus am I inclined to trust that their calendar of events is accurate. Altogether, it gives the distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development. Yet I find it hard to believe that such a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinthos and its archives could have been planned in so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making. They were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. And the Telephoroi's declaration was what set it all in motion? It seems likely, but let us not leap to conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wider investigation of Labyrinthos. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we stand to find. In that case, how about we head to the Archeion? From there we can reach the lower... Kryl, what's wrong? I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me with a bit of a headache, that's all. Nothing that will stop me from soldiering on, let's be about it then. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I remember the way to the Archeion. We followed the path east, through the forest where you were chasing after the mouse. Or marmot, was it? Anyway, these are trolls you need to watch out for. I mean, it's not difficult to at least speculate about what's going on. They have an underground vault simulating environments, water, sun, breeze. They're gathering all kinds of seeds, animals, breedable animals. They're building a sort of Noah's Ark. Kinda like what the founder of Charlene did, Newkampf, or whatever his name was. Pure speculation at this point, of course. But it's interesting. The forum knows the world is going to end. They just, instead of trying to stop it, they're just let it happen. We'll rebuild. This is the foremost material archive in Charlene. I should love to explore these treasures shelf by shelf, but I fear we have little time for such indulgences. Were you caught in mist on your way here? The sprayers keep the air humid, so the habitat feels as close as possible to a natural forest. Don't worry about me, I'm healthy and healthy. In fact, I'm beginning to suspect that... Nay, let's discuss this later. The investigation demands our undivided attention. Behold, the Archeion. As Numenon serves as Charlene's literally archive, so does this structure house the city's wealth of material data. The architecture too is similar. This building you see is merely the upper entrance, an access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside itself. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as the detailed records which describe them. In a matter of speaking, the Archeion contains a physical history of Charlene's unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. deeper into the maze. Well, we won't learn anything of value standing out here. Let us proceed into the main building and speak with the custodian. Greetings. We are here to peruse the Archeion's vault. Peruse? You are clearly no Gleaners, then. Might I ask your affiliation? We belong to the students of Valdesian, but is that relevant? I was given to believe that the vaults, those open to the public at least, were open to the public. Ordinarily, yes, that would be the case. At present, however, access is restricted. Only persons directly involved in the reorganization efforts are permitted to enter. Not us, then. I suppose we had better move along to another facility. This building has a lift, which connects to the middle tier, yes? Might we at least make use of that? No. That service has also been suspended, I'm afraid. For the time being, priority has been given over to the conveyance of inventory. What? So this is as far as we can go? I apologize for the inconvenience. Please come again after our restructuring operation is concluded. By that time, it will be too late, and we were so close to getting answers. We need to rethink our approach. Let us step outside for the moment, shall we? Students of Valdesian. This guy knows. The Forum must be wary of exposure indeed, to so heavily restrict the use of public institutions. If they're going to close off facilities, then they ought to announce it. The students must be furious. Labyrinthos is constructed in the shape of a mortar. The upper layer is called the outer circuit, and the medial circuit lies one tier below us. We are at an impasse. As we have no other leads, I should like to pursue this one further. But I doubt that our stone-faced custodian will be swayed by heartfelt pleas. We must seek another means to access the lower levels. It is likely that the people of this area are involved in the restructuring in one way or another. If we were to ingratiate ourselves, they might allow us to accompany them on the lift. Let us ask around. Surely someone is in need of a few strong backs to lighten the load. What's that? Take you then on the lift with me? Sorry, but not a chance. I have been up and down all day, and only now have I finally found a spare moment to rest. I did see a Gleaner fellow heading out to the gate there, though, shouldering a large pack, engaged in some manner of task. Maybe he'll be headed down below after he's done with whatever it is he's doing. Bemused student. Am I taking the lift? Oh no, we're just students. They won't let us into the Archeion, even though we found... Actually, we have no idea what it is we found. There's no record of such a creature anywhere, but it was wandering around tranquility, and so we thought to donate it to the vaults. Squeal, squeal. Oddest little squeal, don't you think? Anyway, I suppose we'll have to take care of it until the Archeion is open again. Quiet. You'll frighten it away. Ah, it's you again. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm in the middle of another task. The Cloud King I need to capture is close. Very close. You wish to help me with this too? You spend your time in unusual ways, my friend. Still, 2 hunters are generally better than 1. Very well. The canal here is a common gathering spot for birds of all kinds, but the one I'm after today is the hornbill. Its feathers are green, and its cry a distinctive caw. Single it out to shoot it with this sleeping dart. The effects are short-lived, so I'll lie in wait down by the riverbank to claim our quarry. Be sure to hit the right one. Okay. Sedate the target. Help Erenville capture his quarry. Look for the green bird which caws, and sedate it with a dart.
Fair shot.
Oh, he speaks.
Nicely done. Let me truss this one up and I'll make my way over to you.
There you are. Any new revelations?
So you met with that Gleaner again, this time to capture a hornbill. I understand catching and bringing in creatures from the outside, but what's the point of chasing after ones already here?
Oh, it's a simple thing, really. Occasionally, we remove specimens no longer needed for study, or those we've had difficulty raising. But we can't simply turn them loose. Safely returning such creatures to their native habitats is another facet of a Gleaner's duties, but not in this case, I'm afraid. I've been asked to bring the bird below.
The restricted section in the lower levels of Labyrinthos. Open only to a select few researchers hand-picked by the Forum. The projects down there are the subject of rumor and hearsay. Forbidden magics. Advanced technologies that can never be allowed to fall into outside hands. Even Archons are not privy to the truth. Those who are, the researchers involved in this secretive work, are not permitted to walk freely in the city, and are instead required to live in isolated quarters.
What could a facility subject to such strict security protocols possibly need with a hornbill? An experiment?
Possibly. I wasn't afforded an explanation. But judging by the requisition list given to me and my colleagues, I doubt it's for any kind of advanced research. I'd be more inclined to believe we were making preparations to migrate to the south. Mericidia or thereabouts.
What? Why would you say that?
Much of the flora and fauna we were asked to procure could serve as reliable sources of sustenance. They're comparatively hardy species too, able to endure harsh climates. And among them are specimens known to be effective in improving soil quality and purifying water.
When you put it that way, migration does sound like a reasonable assumption.
An assumption. Through our tasks, we Gleaners glimpse only bits and pieces of the Forum's plans. Our prime concern is that our requisitions, be they living or otherwise, are properly preserved for the knowledge of future generations. Now, I really must be going. I regret that I cannot reward you as you deserve.
Perhaps you might reward us after a fashion then. It is imperative that we reach the lower levels. And seeing as you are already set to descend with your assigned cargo, mayhap we could accompany you as your assistants.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. Once the animals have been prepared for transport, we send them down separately via the lift. I will of course follow after to make my report, but I can hardly pass you off as porters when there's nothing left to carry.
Indeed. Pray forget I said anything.
How do you feel about climbing? If you've strength and the courage to brave it, then there is another way down. This path leads to the 33rd facet, a mine shaft excavated during one of our expansions of Labyrinthos. While I cannot guarantee that the passage is safe to traverse, it should provide access to the medial circuit below.
I never even knew such a place existed. Thank you. This is the perfect solution.
You're quite welcome, but consider yourselves warned. If the going proves too treacherous, you do well to turn back. I bid you good day.
Well, turning back is hardly an option, not when we've come this far. Let's go and take a look at this mine shaft.
I never would have noticed this cave on my own. Thank the scholar that Erenville knew of it, and that you were there to persuade him to share. I took a quick peek inside, but it's awfully dark in there. The medial circuit which Erenville mentioned is the tier directly below us. Unlike the lowest level of Labyrinthos, with its rigid security, one can usually roam the middle layer quite freely. Let us see what we might find. This must be it, the entrance to the mineshaft. This faint, but I hear something moving within. Creatures homed there by the researchers, you think? Well, slavering beasts aside, we will need to watch our footing. We should tighten our straps and such before we continue. The medial circuit. Assuming everyone's tightened their straps and checked their gear, then I say we head on in. Given the terrain ahead, though, it might be wise to leave some distance between us. We don't want to be stumbling over each other if it comes to a fight. Take it slow, and don't forget to check your surroundings from time to time. We can meet up again at the other end of the tunnel. Removing Enochian was the best thing they could have ever done for Black Mage. So now we use Blizzard 4 and then Freeze to get all the Umbral Hearts. Oh, I took the wrong path. Oh no, it's the right path, because I had to do that. I had to kill those enemies. Okay. That mineshaft was infested with mithril caps. Some sort of research project, I wonder. I suppose they are a most unusual creature. Why did they develop such long limbs when all they do is shuffle about narrow tunnels? Snagathite. Did you know Kryl almost took a tumble back there? She can't possibly still be dizzy from the lift. I was being careful, I swear. The slope was steeper than I thought, and I'd lost my footing for a moment, that's all. I'm not injured, if you don't count my pride. Everyone seems to have made it through without incident, nothing of consequence at least, and as promised, the tunnel has delivered us to the medial circuit. As I recall, this tier is where they keep a wide variety of samples for agricultural production. If Erenville's assumption holds true, that specimens are being collected in preparation for a great migration, then we should see evidence of such plans in the area's research projects. Let's follow the path to the nearest farming facility and see what we see. Well, okay, let's go. Stray garlic, stray egg, stray queen. Oh, these are the mandragoras. Aha! Now I know where we are. This is Meryall Agronomics. Labyrinthos is host to a wide variety of vegetation, which allows us to conduct studies on cultivation methods utilized in foreign lands. And it is this facility which coordinates and oversees those efforts. The fruits of the research go to feed the Labyrinthos colleagues, or so I hear. More notable successes might make it to the Agora. Foods so exotic you would be hard-pressed to guess their origin, let alone how they might taste. Indeed, mystery vegetables without a name, only a list of nutritional benefits is scribbled on a card. I see no Gleaners hereabouts, yet these workers seem to share that same sense of urgency. It is possible they know something of the forum's plans and their underlying motivations. Worth looking into, wouldn't you say? See what you can coax from the workers. The rest of us will do the same or cast about for useful clues. So I need to talk to these people, find out what they know. The goods we grow here are something of an agricultural wonder. We have crossbred varieties from all across the realm to create pumpkins that are sweet, sizable, and rich in nutrients. A field full of ripe vegetables being left to rot in the vine. Not a single picker hard at work. Clearly, procuring readily available fresh food is not the forum's priority. I'm told this cart holds the harvest meant for the larders here. Nothing out of the ordinary. Oh, hello there. We weren't expecting visitors, not with the use of the lift being restricted. How did you make it down here anyway? The mineshaft, you say? Well, you're a much hardier soul than I. Under normal circumstances, I would reward such tenacity with a guided tour of the fields. I'm afraid the forum has us filling order lists a mile long. Massive yet detailed requests. Literal wagon loads of crop samples and hardly any time to put them together. When I first heard of this grand reorganization, I assumed that we would be shuffling around old stock to make room for the new. Taking the orders for ridiculous quantities of seed we have already thoroughly researched. Passing strange, eh? I pressed for an explanation and was met with vague assurances that all would be revealed in due course. Not the most satisfying answer. Do I have aught to be taken down below? More than I can carry and then some. Most of our stocks is sent off via the cargo lift, but some has been earmarked for aerial transport, hence the stack of crates atop that hill over there. Gods, holding that lot up that slope was a job and a half. What crops are we raising? Well, as you can see, this one is a variety of grape. Only needs a good source of sunlight to grow, and the conditions here are nothing short of perfect. Hardly surprising given that it's native to a particular locale in the very place upon which Labyrinthos was modeled, a region in the south of Ilsavard. It boasts remarkable habitat diversity, allowing for a myriad of flora and fauna to thrive. Chilly peaks in the north give way to swaths of temperate plains, which in turn transition into a hot, humid coastline. Costa del Sol, I'm guessing. Such bountiful territory is ever contested, as you might expect. It used to be called Corvos before the Imperials renamed it to Locus Amoenus. Oh, she's talking about Corvos. Lots of mention of that place. The forum saw it not as a prize, however, but as a researcher's ideal environment, one whose climates we strove to recreate within the confines of Labyrinthos. It has since provided a rich foundation for countless experiments in cultivation. The stack of crates on the hill is going below? That sounds promising. I'll gather the others and join you there. Let's see here what everyone is. Anyone to talk to? No one to talk to? No. No one to talk to? No. The labels on these crates tell the story of their contents. Bundles of common seeds and saplings, accompanied by sheaves of reports.
Hard to look away, isn't it? But they're more than pretty flowers. Heart blooms are attuned to ambient emotion. You don't seem convinced, but believe me, it's true. This ashen grey, for instance, it mirrors the anxiety and urgency of those working nearby as they rush to fulfill sudden orders. Intense feelings like those spur the petals to change colour. Bright glowing hues in the presence of joy, dark subdued shades for frustration or despair. Yet even with the collected wisdom of Sharlayan at our disposal, we've yet to identify the underlying principle of this empathic effect. And there are other mysteries besides. Although the flower is extraordinarily long-lived, its low reproductive rate has made it difficult to find younger populations growing in the wild. With too few sightings to map its distribution, and no closely related species to track, we've been unable to pinpoint its land of origin. to further complicate matters, every culture, even dimly aware of its existence, has given it a different name and mythos. Our attempts to study it via the historical record have been an exercise in frustration. As an avid botanist myself, I should one day like to unravel the Heartbloom's secrets. But I'm afraid other duties must take precedence. I will leave you to your thoughts.
Damn it. Have you learned aught of interest?
A flower that reacts to one's feelings? Strange. I must say, I have never heard of such a thing.
This is all very fascinating. But as it stands, we've failed to gain any significant insight into the Forum's undertaking.
Indeed. While there is certainly enough activity to support Erenville's supposition that a priority has been placed on improving food production, unfortunately for our investigation, these workers were never informed as to how their duties serve the master plan.
If only we could interrogate the Forum members directly. Isn't that the entrance to the Archeion? Look, there. I think that's Erenville.
A little difficult to tell from here, but I think you're right. He did say he was coming down to make his report.
Erenville receives his orders from the Forum. Would it not follow, then, that the superior to whom he reports is a Forum member? Or at least a close associate?
You mean to eavesdrop on their conversation? What of the risks?
Ours alone to bear. We won't interfere with Erenville's work, nor will he be implicated as an accomplice. If you're not comfortable taking part, I can do this alone.
Nay. I said myself that I wished to know Father's intentions. And no answers will be forthcoming should we simply ask nicely.
We can apologize later, should it come to it. Right now, we need every crumb of information we can get our hands on. Consequences be damned.
It might be best if you came along as well. In fact, we should all...
Something's odd with Kryl.
Kryl?
Oh, yes. That certainly sounds like a plan.
I'm glad you agree.
Quickly! Erenville is on the move. We need to get closer before we lose him.
Almost. I can almost reach you.
What is she talking about? Forgive me, my attention has been elsewhere. We were following Erenville, weren't we? Yeah, the attention has been elsewhere. It feels wrong to spy on Erenville, helpful as he has been, but what other choice do we have? Let's get after him already. We have waited too long as it is. Is Kryl still feeling unwell? I have never seen her so distracted. Keep an eye on her, but keep moving too. We cannot let our quarry slip away. Erenville was headed westwards along the path outside the Archeion. Come, we can still catch him. It seems Y'shtola wishes to have a word with us. We have fallen too far behind, and this damned mist won't help matters. I can still hear it. Hold a moment, I have an idea. If memory serves, that colossal wall-like structure is Logisticon Beta, one of Labyrinthos' climate control centers. It should have its own lifts, with which one could access the upper or lower tiers. If I were an agent of the forum, it would make for a convenient meeting place. But even if we happen to find Erenville and company of said agent, we cannot expect him to reveal issues of importance as we nonchalantly stroll past. Nay, we shall have to remain undetected. If only Graha and his vanish spell were here. Oh, but there are other ways of turning invisible. Keep it off, my little toad. Goodness. Unaccustomed to transfiguration? Worry not, it will wear off with the passage of time. This is new music. I suggest you and your green companions hop along and catch up with Erenville. Should you feel the magic's fading, return to me and I will refresh the enchantment. And what am I to do in the meantime? Wait here with me. In your current state of mind, you would be as likely to leap into the jaws of a predator as you would learn anything of note. Ooh. Which reminds me, what are the creature's whereabouts? In that form, you are essentially defenseless. I would have enjoyed being a toad for a little while, if only for the change of pace, but Y'shtola is right, I am too preoccupied with other matters. Ribbit, ribbit. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Alfie Toad and Alley Toad. Oh, this is perfect. Alfie Toad and Alley Toad. So what am I? Saga Toad? Keep them at your side in order to proceed with the quest objectives. Discussing surrounding. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Alfie Toad attempts and fails to shake his head, but you nevertheless understand that he's telling you this is the wrong way. Ribbit, 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 ribbit. Alley Toad turns to face the north. Perhaps he is suggesting you cross the bridge.
I trust you will find your compensation to be more than satisfactory. We wish to make clear that we are pleased with the efficiency and thoroughness of your work. So much so that we have come bearing new tasks in need of your competent hand.
Another lengthy list. If I may speak frankly, the Gleaners have been pushed to the point of collapse by your unending demands. We are not familiars to be exploited. We are Sharlayan scholars and we deserve an explanation for this unseemly treatment. What warrants such urgency?
In an age long past, Sharlayan was charged with a momentous duty. And now that word of the final days hangs heavy in the air, the time has come for us to fulfill that charge. I can say no more, but I promise you this. All will be revealed in due course. And when it has, you will understand that your toil was in service to the greatest good.
then I will do your bidding. For now. But unless you wish the Gleaners to rise up in protest, I advise you to offer tangible improvements for our working conditions. Your promised revelation does nothing to address present circumstances.
A fair point. Your concerns will be conveyed to the Forum.
I hope that was informative. You may consider my debt to you repaid in full. While I do have my reservations about the Forum, I want to believe that they have our best interests at heart. Which is why I'm reassured that you're busy sniffing out the truth of things. We can ill afford to place all our eggs in one basket, this master plan of theirs, without first understanding the risks involved.
Wait! How did you know it was us?
If you mean to impersonate a toad, try studying the real thing. And don't try to fool an expert.
Nice guy, that's Erenville. Our toad performance needs work apparently. I'll have to pay more attention the next time I see one. I suppose we should have known a Gleaner who specializes in animal procurement would not be so easily deceived. Yet he seemed inclined to put his trust in us all the same. More importantly, perhaps, we have discovered a new piece of the puzzle. This momentous duty the Forum agent mentioned. Archeion has been called to action, and the Telephoros declaration was the catalyst. Whatever charge it is they hope to fulfill, they deem it of sufficient import to disrupt all of Labyrinthos, not to mention ignore Eorzea's request for aid. If we happen to cross paths with Erenville again, I should like to thank him properly. A guide of sorts. Dogs are barking. Wait. Sorry for the unexpected break. A guide of sorts, Hydaelyn staring off in the direction of Erenville departed. A thoughtful look on her face. What duty could warrant the direct involvement of the Forum and the commitment of all of its resources? Judging by what we just heard, none of the Gleaners were offered any kind of explanation. At this point, it seems abundantly clear that we'll learn nothing new by pressing them further. We should head back to Hydaelyn and Kral for the moment, see what they think of this. I should take my chocobo out. Would be helpful in combat. It's funny how normal the forest seems now. As a toad, it was all so much more ominous and threatening. Where is Kral? Welcome back. I trust you found Erenville then? Interesting. I had a feeling you would learn something important, even if that something was simply a confirmation that no one knows much of anything. We should share this with Kral, then discuss how we would like to proceed. Assuming we find her back at the farm. She was still behaving oddly, so I bade her return and rest there. Perhaps not the best decision in hindsight. Would you mind checking near those flowers she was so entranced by? The rest of us can survey the more distant areas just in case she decided to wander. The hell? Yeah, she's here.
For you. The spell will keep it from wilting. She said you would need it for the journey ahead. Will you speak with her now? I cannot hope to match Minfilia's clarity, of course, but...
Okay, so I guess we could imagine that she was hearing Hydaelyn.
Thank you. Do not worry. She has lent me her body for only a moment.
That's perfectly fine. Take over people's bodies. No one...
Just as I could not save the first from the flood of light, it has become arduous for me to interact with the physical world without assistance. Though I might converse with you for a time, the incorporeal form I assumed on the ship would be incapable of casting even the simplest enchantment. It is in the depths of the ethereal sea, the place to which all life returns, where my influence is greatest.
The ethereal sea. That's what basically the live stream is in this game.
After Minfilia's sacrifice on the first, it was to the sea, here in the source, where I ferried her soul. I wished that gentle spirit to find rest in the world she loved so well. Her, and another who may yet have a part to play, though that will depend on you.
Another who may yet have a part to play. Wild guess? Emmett. How can we be hearing Emmett's voice? He's technically dead.
Take the flower. Walk free, for you are free, to go where you wish, to believe what you will.
Walk free, for you are free to go where you wish, to believe what you will. The kind of thing you would say someone who hasn't been free for a long time.
That bloom will be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. In darkness, seek joy. Surrender not to sadness, and see beyond despair. Walk free, and bear the light for others to follow. Together, raise it aloft and let it shine, till the end, blinding and radiant.
That was all too brief. Already she seems so far away. My apologies if I startled you. Ever since we began our descent into Labyrinthos, I had sensed another's will, straining to reach out. Even with my particular talents, though, I was unable to make a connection at first, so weak and tenuous it was. Once I took hold of that wispy thread. Imagine my surprise to discover it was Hydaelyn herself. Needless to say, it seemed wise to learn what we could before letting go. Her answers were more cryptic than I would have liked. But at least she left us with a guide of sorts, that unusual flower. Yes, we are definitely making progress.
You can't be serious! We've done nothing wrong!
Oh. Oh, it's their dad.
Master Fortuno? What business has the Forum with us?
Obstruction and suppression, apparently.
Mistress Baldessian, our records show you facilitated the Scions' entrance into Sharlayan by claiming them as assistants for your organization. We are aware of your investigations. After alerting the major institutions to the presence of potential troublemakers, we received word from an Archeion custodian. A group operating under the auspices of the students, skulking about Labyrinthos and engaging in clandestine behavior.
Clandestine? We may not have entered Sharlayan as Scions, but we did naught to conceal our identities. Our only purpose in this city is to seek the truth. I can think of no reason why our actions should warrant the Forum's intervention.
'Tis not our way to discourage the pursuit of knowledge, but the timing of such pursuits must be considered, not to mention their potential impact. With the world in chaos, we, the true caretakers of wisdom, have committed ourselves to an undertaking that demands the utmost discretion. And we will not risk its success by turning a blind eye to disruptive foreign elements in our midst.
What, then, is to be our fate? Will you put us on a ship back to Eorzea?
The Forum will convene to examine your case. The results of said inquiry will determine your future in this city. As for your absent companion, he has already been detained.
Absent companion.
Grah! But why? Is reading a crime now, too?
Reading is encouraged, celebrated even. Not, however, of the volumes shelved in the restricted section of the library.
Refusing to comply will only make matters worse. Let us instead treat this as an opportunity to open a dialogue with the Forum.
Silence is often one's best defense. I would advise against prolonging the proceedings with frivolous discourse. But enough. This is not the place for debate. The rostra await.
So what, am I to stand trial?
Forgive me. I was careless.
We would have been detained regardless. This way, at least, we managed to stay together. I trust your time within the Forbidden Archives was well spent.
Found something, didn't he?
Forum will come to order. This inquiry is now in session. As Speaker-elect, I will be presiding over the day's proceedings. Master Fortuner, would you be so kind as to restate the matter which compelled you to summon your colleagues with such urgency?
As you are all aware, we recently denied Eorzea's request for Sharlayan assistance. Since then, certain individuals dissatisfied with our decision have taken it upon themselves to interfere with our work. They entered our nation masquerading as associates of the students of Baldessian. But these malcontents are better known as the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. These militants wield influence with both the Eorzean and Eastern alliances. and are inextricably involved with the crises presently afflicting the world at large. Loose in our city, these warmongers sought to meddle with and expose matters of state secret. What are they, if not a dire threat to be expelled?
This guy doesn't really care about anything.
You have tarnished the good name of the students. Galuf would be ashamed.
Ow. Is that the first time we ever see Kryl without her hood on?
Galuf Baldessian was never one to forsake his fellow man. Even if this nation closed every door and retreated from the world, he would have found a way to help the Scions, help every soul of this star fight back against the coming doom.
A terrible enemy stands poised to lay waste to all we hold dear. In the face of such madness, Eorzea reached out to Sharlayan, a respected ally, in the hopes of forming a united front. Was your curt dismissal truly the best you could offer? Or are you so preoccupied with your momentous duty of an age long past that even the end of the world is unworthy of your attention?
Whence came this revelation?
From the mouth of a forum member within fortuitous earshot.
Then it seems your findings support my own.
What does he know?
The reason I visited the restricted shelves was to study records of the forum's policymaking process, to better understand the historical trends underlying their most major decisions. At first glance, the positions of neutrality in war and the accumulation of knowledge above all else appear constant and consistent, the unchanging pillars of Sharlayan society. And once upon a time, I might have left it at that. These days, however, I am more attuned to the subtleties of governance, and so I noticed something odd. From a particular point in time, the purpose of these policies shifted. No longer was knowledge preserved for the benefit of society. Rather, society was to be gradually reshaped to ensure the preservation of knowledge. The most conspicuous and telling change was the one which befell Labyrinthos. Once little more than an oversized storehouse, an enormous allocation of funds saw it transformed into an advanced research and archival facility. I also discovered a fascinating account on the finances of our Dravanian colony. The settlement attracted students from far and wide, and the connections and tuition fees thus acquired were funneled into further improvements for the archives. Now, there is no question that our nation's progress is tied to the acquisition of wisdom. Nevertheless, the vast resources diverted for this purpose borders on the obscene. But returning to the matter of when, our change in course appears to have been made some 270 years ago.
The very same period when Sharlayan scholars in the hinterlands began a formal study of the ethereal sea.
The ethereal sea that Hydaelyn mentioned, the live stream, where all souls go.
You found something, did you not? And whatever it was, gave rise to your oh-so-important duty.
Mind your tongue, Archon. If you had seen...
Yes. We are bound by a duty we cannot ignore.
Something choked that man. Something or someone choked that man.
Knowing this, what would you have us do? Abandon our vital work and join you on the field of battle? We will never choose the way of the sword. We will fulfill our mission, not through strife and bloodshed, but survival. Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must, then. But we Scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Such misguided zeal.
Father, Master Fortuno, I fail to understand the stance you have elected to take. But by the same token, I have yet to find a compelling argument to counter the challenge you put to us in Gridania. Still, in the midst of my uncertainty, I must trust in myself to do what is right, as others have chosen to trust in me. So I will continue, as I always have, weighing the consequences of my every action, and allowing my hope for the future to inform my decisions.
That's quite enough. Have you all forgotten the reason for this assembly?
Monty Chain.
Skolok Monteshane. He's the head of the studium and an old friend of my grandfather's.
Honestly, every discussion devolves into some interminable debate. Terrible habit. Let's return to the topic at hand, By their own admission, these Scions have resolved to fight alongside the Eorzean nations against the doom which swift approaches. But there exists no evidence of an attempt to incite our citizens to do the same. Furthermore, while our decision may well have been the correct one, we cannot simply bull our way through these disagreements without inviting doubts or objections. Put yourselves in their place. Who among you would leave a tome unopened if an elder forbid you read it with no reason given? Now, if we're to quell further discontent, then we must conclude this matter with a fair and even hand.
Order! We will have order! Master Monteshane raises some valid points. Keeping such concerns in mind, I propose we enforce the following measures. Until further notice, the students of Baldesion are to cease any and all activities within the domain of Sharlayan. You will also refrain from any further investigation into the Forum's decisions and duties. Failure to comply with these restrictions will result in the immediate expulsion of your Scion associates. Let us put this judgment to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand.
Seems the majority.
I count 51 for and 48 against. The proposal is passed. Students, Scions, you have heard the Forum's judgment. Pray abide by it, or face the consequences. Honored members, I thank you for your time. This inquiry is concluded.
Thank the gods for Scholar Montaigne. I absolutely loathe arguing in circles. My father may be right, that I am still groping in the dark for answers, but I need him to know that I would never stop searching. I owed that much to Erenville and myself. You may encounter some raised eyebrows, but do continue to claim the students as your sponsor whensoever the need arises. I believe in the guiding principles of the science, and I know my grandfather would have as well. I apologize for the trouble I have caused you. I was pondering the significance of what I had just read as I left the strictest section, and knocked over the security mammoth on my way out. I promise to be more vigilant next time. Well, at least we have been allowed to remain in the city, and our endless investigations have not been in vain. We now know that this mysterious duty of theirs began with whatever the Forum discovered in the ethereal sea. With our freedoms so sorely curtailed, however, we will struggle to learn what more of substance here in Sharlayan. State Visitor. The overall picture has grown clearer, yes, but that's in spite of the Forum being so maddeningly vague about this duty of theirs. Why are they so reluctant to explain their actions in plain words? Survival, come what may. His father's work so vital that it takes precedence over his own family. Afino? Alice? It is you. When I heard you had been dragged before the Forum, I came as swiftly as I could. I am so very glad they allowed you to stay. Who are you? Mother! Ameliance Leveilleur at your service. And your fine people must be the Scions of the Seventh Thorn. How lovely it is to finally meet you. Mother, please, we don't wish to make things difficult for you, if word reaches father that you were here. Oh, bother that. Am I to be chastised for speaking with my own children? I am well aware that you and Master Fortunold are not on the best of terms at the moment, but I have been absolutely desperate to see my darlings again. You will come by the house, won't you? I have gifts waiting. The timing couldn't be better. As matters stand, we shan't be going anywhere until we discuss matters with Thancred's group and reconsider our options. Go, visit your home. We will be back at the Annex when you are ready to rejoin us. I'm not sure Sagasite, what do you think? Sagasite? The Sagasite looks along? What a splendid day this has turned out to be. Champion of Eorzea, I insist that you join us. She knows me, I'm famous. Ah, but we must be quick about it. Not for my own benefit, but should my husband return and find you enjoying our hospitality, the servants will be made to suffer the consequences. Sagasite, if you would be so kind as to escort my children to the state. And then she was gone. And with her, any opportunity to protest. Indeed, the matter is settled. Enjoy yourselves, you three. I'm sure Afino thinks nothing of it. He invited classmates over all the time, but I wasn't the most... it was a different time for me, alright? I apologize. My mother is not one to take no for an answer. Still, I am glad, relieved even, to see her in such high spirits. What say you? Though it seems we shall have little enough time to enjoy it, will you accompany us on our visit home? Of course. Fine. If we're going, then let's get it over with. But be sure to stay in the entrance hall. No peeking into our private chambers, thank you very much. Why ever not? Your room was always perfectly neat and tidy. Everyone has things they had rather keep to themselves, don't they? Cherished mementos you couldn't bring yourself to throw away. Childhood toys. I mean, never mind. Leveilleur Estate is that way. Straight down the stairs, come on. Oh yes, I'm talking with them. When Alice and I were little, this bridge was as far as we were permitted to wander alone. I say alone, but my mother or a servant was always somewhere nearby, keeping a watchful eye. And now look at us, traveling to different continents, different worlds even. As children, Alfino and I would often wait here for our father to come home from work. It must have been a day when his meetings ran long, because I remember growing restless and leaning out over the railing to watch the water rush by. Father, of course, arrived at that exact moment, came pounding down the path in a panic, crying out my name. Yeah, this is the Leveilleur Estate. And here you are at last. Please, do come in.
Welcome home, my lady.
What? What are you gawping at?
House Leveilleur in all its grandeur. Scion headquarters must seem squalid indeed. Just admiring the craftsmanship.
Oh, gods, please don't. It makes me feel like a spoiled princess.
Lord Fourcheneau is not to hear of this visit. And I should also like the children to have their gifts, ere my husband makes his return.
As you wish, my lady.
That's a nice suit. Can I have a suit? Can we get that suit?
Master Alfino, Mistress Alice, if you would accompany me upstairs.
We shan't be long.
The twins have been sending letters home from time to time, recounting their latest adventures. I am sure they withhold certain details, of course, if only to keep me from worrying. Yet a mother worries all the same. In the early days especially, I tried to support them as best I could, sending the Scion's coin and other such donations. Fortunately, they have found the strength to overcome adversity time and time again. Their words grow more confident with every letter, their depictions more vivid. The triumphs and defeats, the joys and sorrows. It is clear that they have come to find value in every experience. But of those they treasure most, it would seem that meeting you might be the most impactful. Why, since that fateful day, I do believe there has not been a single missive in which you were not mentioned by name.
I'm famous.
'Tis plain they care for you, and I am glad they have such a steadfast companion watching over them. Under normal circumstances, I would offer you tea, but alas, these are anything but. In any event, why don't you keep me company whilst we await my children's return? Perhaps you might regale me with a tale or two of your exploits.
When you mentioned gifts, I wasn't sure what to expect.
Ah, new clothes. Nice.
Mother,
Oh, look how well it fits you. And the style is to your liking?
It's perfect. Exactly what I would have chosen. But please, tell me you had something different made for Alpha.
Naturally. You are hardly little children anymore. And while I shall miss dressing you in those precious matching outfits, I must respect the individuals you have grown to become. See for yourself.
Thank you for the splendid clothes, Mother. Stylish, comfortable, and eminently practical.
I am so glad you like them. They are, however, missing one final touch.
If you'd allow me, Master Alphinaud.
Ah, the things for the sage.
Wait. Are these...
A sage's tools of the trade. They belonged to your father. Though he may as well be chained to his desk these days, as a student he was often called upon to venture into the field. He wielded those armaments, both to heal and to harm in no few battles. None so fierce as those you two have braved, perhaps, but battles nonetheless. Thus did I pull them out of storage, to show you that he was not always the man who stands in vehement opposition to you now. And also because it would be a terrible waste of ridiculously expensive Leveilleur commissioned artistry.
Oh, a job
I
crystal.
am told these devices are quite difficult to master. But someone of your extensive experience should soon have them darting about with grace and aplomb. May the wisdom in that crystal serve you well. And please, try to find common ground with your father, that you might come and go without need for this awful subterfuge.
We will, Mother. I promise.
My final gifts to you, before you run off, are an observation and a suggestion. Firstly, Fourcheneau has ever been a serious man, but it was only after you were born that he truly lost himself in his work. I may not know the Forum's inner workings, but I know your father's. The timing of that change in him holds some significance. Secondly, do not seek to best your father with words. Far better that you simply show him. Let him discover the merit of your actions, after they cannot be undone.
Oh, Mother.
We shall take your wisdom to heart. Thank you again for these gifts, and farewell for now.
Safe travels, my children. Eat well, stay warm, and keep your friends close.
That was a nice and wholesome cutscene. And that was that. Only the gods know when we'll be back again. Thank you for indulging in Mother's request. I can see it meant a lot to her. And I shall refrain from inquiring as to the content of your private conversation. Our visit was all too brief. For now, however, it will have to suffice. as will these tokens of home that we carry with us, these gifts to help us remember who we are and whence we came. But enough sentimentality. Let us return to the Annex and rejoin our companions. Oh dear, the frame rate. Don't think for a moment that I'm jealous of Alphinaud's new weapons. They are far more suited to him than me. We let for Eorzea in matching outfits, but our styles, both fashion and fighting, have long since diverged. If anything, I'm proud of the differences between us. If I intend to master these sage's armaments, that will mean learning to imbue them with the same ether that I poured into Moonstone and Obsidian. It is difficult to grasp the essence of such an entity. For me, it will help to think of the Knowledge as allies in battle, simply a new form of the energy which went into manifesting my carbuncle companions. For us to feel responsible for the schism of House Leveilleur would be pure hubris. After all, we are merely on the outskirts of what is essentially a family affair. And yet neither can we claim the indifference of strangers. To hear their mother welcome them so warmly was a joy and a relief. As curious as I am to learn the truth of this duty, I wonder what else the Forum is hiding. A calamitous secret whose origin lies in the Ethereal Sea. Duplicity aside, however, I do not believe Master Fortunaud means us ill. Even the harsh words he had for his children stem not from anger, I think, but desperation. Yeah, I'm starting to think the actions of Fortunaud are meant to keep his children away for their safety. I may be wrong. Enjoyed your time with the Leveilleurs, I hope. I would ask how the twins fared, but their new outfits tell the tale. I only hoped we can help them to reconcile with their father, that they might return home one day with their heads held high. In the meantime, we edge ever closer to the secret the Forum strives to hide, and the flower bequeathed to you by Hydaelyn is sure to guide us going forward. I'm confident that once you have scouted out the situation in Thafnir, we'll be well equipped to plot out our next move.